Foyt is the winner of today's USAC race in Milwaukee. For details on that chase, here is Keith Jackson.
On a day that started with rain and cold and ended in sunshine, the Burley Texan A.J. Foyt has won his 64th USAC championship car race, winning the Milwaukee 150. He was never in serious trouble. He broke on the pole, having qualified the fastest. He literally passed whenever he chose to. He overran the field, and he won comfortably over the second-place driver, Billy Vukovich. The margin of victory for Foyt was pronounced. Virtually a lap, at least three-quarters of a lap, as he flashed past the checkered flag. And then Billy Vukovich from Course Gold, California, came after driving a very heady race, home in second place. Only two cars in the same lap. The order of finish is Foyt, Vukovich, Tom Bigelow, Larry Dixon, Jerry Sneva, and Gary Bettenhausen. And for A.J. Foyt, his fourth victory here at the Milwaukee 150.
Thank you, Keith. And while Foyt was winning in Milwaukee, Sam, it was Bobby Unser in Trenton.
Thank you, Dan.
He won this race last year and the year before, the 1978 national champion. In the fourth row, Rick's brother, Roger Mears, car number 9. He is still looking for his first victory, but it's a brand new race car. Alongside car 30, Howdy Holmes, a competent road racer. He, too, looking for his first victory in the Indy cars. The fifth row, car number 5, Johnny Rutherford, still struggling this season and recovered from his injuries at Pocono. Alongside car number 34, Derek Daly, a visitor from the Formula One, the backup driver to K.K. Rosberg. And here's a look at the rest of the starting field. There are 150 miles to the end of the race and the end of this championship racing season. The pole sitter, Rick Mears, brings the field down toward the green flag. The pace car is off into the pit area. Rick Mears and Mario Andretti are side by side as they come off the last turn. Nick Bernaro gives them the green flag, and we are racing at the Phoenix 150. Mears is out in front. He's being chased by Andretti and John Cox as they head to the first turn. Andretti closes up right behind Rick Mears, and then Mears hits the throttle, and Andretti drops back. John Cox now pulls up just behind Rick Mears as they're on the backstretch through the third turn, heading now for the fourth turn, and Rick Mears comes around to complete the first lap in the lead at the Phoenix 150.
Rick Mears did exactly what we expected him to do. He always has the horsepower. He's out very quick in qualifying. He came immediately and took the lead. Mario Andretti, Gordon Johncock, everybody pulling in right behind him. But Tom Sneva is making a very nice move and coming up in the back of the pack.
Rick Mears is out in front. Mario Andretti is in second place right now, and that's a little bit of a surprise, the move by Tom Sneva coming up early, because Sneva had to change gearboxes overnight and didn't get a chance. Here is Derek Daly off the course very early.
Derek Daly made a very nice move right at the beginning of the pack as we were isolated on him. We wanted to see how he was going to do because he's never had a flying start. He went out there, pushed very hard, got ahead of Rutherford, but now it looks like he all of a sudden came up with engine trouble.
Green flag still flies. There is no yellow as Daly comes off the race course. Rick Mears completes the second lap. Out in front, Mario Andretti continues in pursuit. And right behind Andretti, his teammate Gordon Johncock. But the awesome power of that Cosworth engine and that Penske PC-10 is proving its worth once again, as it has this entire season in championship auto racing team. Rick Mears is in front. Andretti closes up ever so close now and begins to make his bid to try to take the lead away from Rick Mears.
Here's the battle for fourth place. Very good battle between Bobby Rahal and Tom Sneva. Sneva came up at the beginning and just pushed very hard and staying right on the tail of Bobby Rahal, making his move down below as they go down the backstretch. But Rahal holding them off.
Sneva closes on the backstretch. Then Rahal drops ahead a little bit and stays in position as Mears now comes up behind the slower car of Phil Kruger in the lapping process. And now Tom Sneva starts a battle with Bobby Rahal for fourth place. It's Rahal high. Sneva puts a nose under him, but Rahal holds him off and maintains fourth.
All right, Rahal was out there in the lead, but he was able to hold off Tom Sneva's pursuit right there. As Mario Andretti has moved up on Rick Mears, I think what's happened here is Rick Mears knows he has the horsepower. He can stay out in the lead. He took the first few laps, ran very hard, tested the car, it's working well. He's backing off a little bit. Here's back to that battle with Bobby Rahal and Tom Sneva.
Still battle for fourth place. Sneva has moved into fourth. Rahal dropping back just a bit, but Rahal's car handled very well when he was able to get up alongside Sneva. Sneva's engine has been paying off, though. Andretti still dogging in the mirrors of Rick Mears' machine, that #1 car. He will retain that number next season. He is once again the national champion. Mario Andretti, winless this season, trying to pick up just one simple victory. This is his last race for the Patrick Racing Team. Andretti will move on to a new team being created by Paul Newman for the next racing season. Carl Haas, the Lola dealer, will be putting the team together, bringing the cars over from the pen of Eric Broadley. It should be a marvelous effort next season, and Mario Andretti will be in the cockpit. Rick Mears is still out in front. Second place Andretti, third place Gordon Johncock.
Mario Andretti moved right up behind Rick Mears for a while there. Now he seems to be backing off. I'm surprised. It's a 150-mile race. It's a lot of racing to do, but Mario Andretti is pushing very hard, pushing Mears all the time, knowing, keeping that contact, letting him know that he's right behind him, and he is capable of passing him at any moment if Rick Mears makes a mistake.
Slower traffic in front of Rick Mears as they come on the main straightaway. The back markers in the field, they come to the inside. This is a very difficult race course to pass on, and because of that, Mears has to be very careful as he leads the field through. And all of the cars that are potentially to the back of the field have been warned by the chief steward, Wally Dallenbach, to watch carefully and watch the flags being given so that they know that cars are coming up behind them and get out of the way.
That shows you the difference in speed between the cars, Paul. There's such a great difference in speed that it's just a few laps into the race, and already they're starting to lack slower traffic. So there's going to be a lot of passing going on with slower cars.
As Rick Mears ducks under Dick Simon, it gives both Andretti and Johncock an opportunity to close up. But still on the backstretch here, which has just a bit of a dog leg off to the right, is beginning to give a little advantage to Mears. He's running through that a little bit better than the other two cars.
Now Gordon Johncock is starting to move up in there and starting to pursue the lead.
There's Rick Mears, Mario Andretti, Gordon Johncock, first, second, and third. Still watching Bobby Rahal and Tom Sneva in fourth and fifth position as Andretti skates coming around the corner. It doesn't appear that his machine is sticking onto the surface as good as Mears and Bruce Jenner. The surface here is physically different than a lot of the other tracks they run on.
It's a very rocky surface. It's an asphalt surface, but they also put an awful lot of rock into it. If you move your hand across it, it's a very rough, coarse surface. So it is very different. And the drivers, all the top drivers have been out here a long time, and they've done the testing, and they know what the car can do. But it can be very tricky at times.
There's Rick Mears as he continues in the lead. The first car out of the race was Formula One driver Derek Daly. Last year with the Williams team as the backup driver to K.K. Rosberg. He is right now with Gary Sherrill. Gary?
Derek, obviously great disappointment. Your first attempt to running an Indy car. What was the indication of the problem?
I think it's something major in the motor. The first lap, I got by rather bit at turn one, and Mears at the dog leg, and it was actually quite comfortable. It began to slow down at turn two on the second lap, and then something very major went in the engine.
Well, a very short debut. We look forward to perhaps seeing you in future events. Thank you, Derek.
Okay, thank you.
Now Kevin Kogan pushes his way around Bobby Rahal. Kogan, who started back in the third row, is getting an opportunity to move up now and moves around Rahal.
He's got a long way to go to get up to Tom Sneva. Sneva's been pushing very hard. Now Sneva is getting up there with the leaders. As we see Rick Mears being pursued by Mario Andretti around the outside, slower traffic.
Taking advantage of the slower car. Andretti comes to the high side. Johncock drops in behind Mears on the low side. Peter Halsmer is right there in the center, and Halsmer is hit by Johncock. Halsmer climbing up on the fence. Johncock almost head on into the fence. We watch the drivers. Both drivers staying in the car. No indication of fire. Now Peter Halsmer unbuckles. No, just those two. Just those two cars. A very frustrated driver. Gordon Johncock still sitting in the cockpit of his machine. It was very tight going, coming into the first turn. Johncock now climbs out, so apparently both drivers are all right, though both of them are shaken up. An accident in the first turn. Johncock had dropped in behind Rick Mears on the low side of the course and then touched wheels with Peter Halsmer. And Andretti was on the outside. The yellow flag flies at the Phoenix 150 here in the early going. Let's take a look at it once again. The approach to the first turn where the accident began. That's Peter Halsmer in the center, Gordon Johncock over on the left of your screen. John Cock loses the back end just slightly, and then his right front touches the left rear of Peter Halsmer and sends Halsmer into the air. John Cock goes straight up into the fence while Halsmer climbs it.
Halsmer was very lucky that he did not go over. Gordon Johncock tried to make his move on the inside, stayed on the flat part of the track, was not on the bank, just could not hold it in there, and was very fortunate that Halsmer did not go over. The car almost did flip right over. As Gordon Johncock is moving into the inside of the track, he seems to be fine. He's walking just fine and under his own power, moving into the infield, but very disappointed.
A frustrated and disgusted Gordon Johncock out of the race in the early going. We'll be right back.
In 1936, Isuzu's
Involving Peter Halsmer and Gordon Johncock. Right now, Gary Gerould is with Gordy.
Gordy just getting out of the car, Paul, walking down across the pit road. Gordy, can you tell us what happened? We know it was terribly tight traffic coming into turn one.
Well, just more or less a racing accident. I don't know if you can really blame it on to anybody. There was 4 or 5 of us. Mario and Rick and myself were all running for the lead, and we come into number 1 corner, and we had 2 or 3 slow cars, and we all got mixed up together, and I tried to go underneath a slow car, and he came down, and I got sideways, and see that I was going to spin. I had to straighten it up, and when I straightened it up, my right front bumped his left rear, and we just both went into the wall.
We're pleased to see that you're all right. I know it's a very disappointing end to what had been, up until today, a terrific 1982 season.
Thank you.
Gordon Johncock out of the race, a 5-time winner, now headed back for the pits.
Gordon Johncock involved in that accident with Peter Halsmer. There's your leaders under the yellow. Rick Mears is out in front. Andretti is in second place, and the crew is ready for a stop by Mario Andretti should he want to come in. It will simply depend on when they think they'll come back to the green flag.
Boy, Gordon Johncock has really run into bad luck at the end of the season. Last 5 races been out, has not had the opportunity to get in there and even finish the race. And he has to be so disappointed as Mears is coming into the pits.
So Rick Mears followed by Mario Andretti. It looked for a second like they would not stop Andretti. The crew started to pull away. Now here is Mario Andretti. The crew comes back out, sets the tires in place. They'll be changing the right side tires, also the left rear. There's a mistake. They dropped the jacks too early, but they simply reconnect and continue the change. There is Rick Mears as they change tires on his car as well. Apparently, the surface is changing here today.
They're all changing tires, which is very unusual, as Rick Mears gets on the horsepower and beats Mario Andretti out of the pits, runs into a little trouble, gets into the dirt, but he's out of there. Mario Andretti is going to pull in right behind him.
So Rick Mears and Mario Andretti in positions 1 and 2. At the time of the yellow, both come in. Here is your new leader. It is Howdy Holmes, who currently leads at the Phoenix 150. And we have the report from the hospital now that Gordon Johncock and Peter Halsmer are both all right after that accident in the first turn. So under the yellow, let's go to Charlie Jones in Budapest, Hungary for the World Invitational Gymnastics. And at what caused the yellow flag in the early going here at Phoenix? Rick Mears was leading Gordon Johncock and Mario Andretti through. Now Johncock on the right side of your screen lost the back end, and when he turned to the right to correct, he turned right into the left rear wheel of Peter Halsmer. When those wheels touch, there's tremendous energy involved. As you can see, it sent Halsmer into the air. Johncock locked the brakes up and slid head-on into the wall. Halsmer backed in and climbed the fence. It looked like an awesome accident, but fortunately, the safety systems on the car worked, and neither driver was injured as a result of this accident. Let's go back to the pits. Here's Gary.
Well, John's got the helmet off, obviously. Now, John, do you have any indication what the problem was?
Well, it was either a turbocharger or a burned piston. We're not sure. It was blowing oil out of the exhaust. So I think probably it was a burned piston. Things weren't really very good even from the beginning. We were kind of holding our own, but I don't know, Gary. It's been one of those years.
Been a tough year for Johnny Rutherford. We're about to go green. Let's go back upstairs quickly.
So Johnny Rutherford out of the Phoenix 150 as Howdy Holmes in car 30, chased by Roger Mears, come down to the green flag, and we're racing once again in Phoenix. Now, neither one of these first 2 cars have made a pit stop under the yellow, so they are running under the risk, Bruce Jenner, that they will have a second opportunity to pit and not have to pit under the green.
Well, they're taking a gamble right now as Howdy Holmes is out into the lead. Roger Mears right behind him. Now, Roger Mears is driving for the first time a brand new PC-10. He got himself a Penske car and has been doing very well. He had his highest qualifying start so far this year. So Roger Mears is coming in right behind Howdy Holmes now.
Well, the owner of Howdy Holmes, number 30, is Doug Shearson, who has years years of road racing experience in his own right, driving in the Sports Car Club of America, national champion there. And that former lead serial is now screaming toward the front as Tom Sneva moves out and around Bobby Rahal and into 5th place. In front of him is Rick Mears in 4th. Kevin Hogan is in 3rd. And now Andretti moves past Rahal and picks up 6th position.
They've got an awful lot of traffic as they go into turn 1. And right now, they know they have the fastest car. They want to be very careful, not make a mistake, because the cars in front of them, they have the horsepower. You saw Rick Mears and Tom Sneva just moving right through some of the slower traffic.
Well, George Bignotti was concerned about the gearbox in that number 7 Texaco Star of Tom Sneva's. But if they were worried about it at the start of the race, they should not be worried now, Bruce. It appears to be working fine, despite the fact that they had to change the gearbox overnight.
Well, Tom Sneva's a tough driver. He knows his track very well. He drives very hard, and he'll push that car to the limit. Hopefully, the transmission will be able to stay together.
And as we watch, Roger Mears now close down on Howdy Holmes. At the same time, his brother Rick has moved around Kevin Kogan and picked up 3rd. Howdy Holmes and Roger Mears, both running now on lighter fuel loads, are beginning to outdistance the front of the field.
Howdy Holmes driving very nicely. You know, I'm surprised right now. Roger Mears, they're both driving very well. Rick Mears is not moving up that quickly on the rest of the pack. So you know Howdy Holmes enjoys being out in the lead. A lot of times you can give him that incentive to really drive that car hard because he knows he has the lead. He wants to stay out there.
This 1 mile track in Phoenix is one of the toughest, if not the toughest, on the circuit to try and get past somebody. So both Andretti and Rick Mears are being very careful as they tiptoe their way back to the field, trying to make an assault on these front positions, currently occupied by Howdy Holmes and Roger Mears. Now, Mears is in a PC-10. It's the first customer car that Roger Penske has produced this year. And, of course, Rick spoke in Roger's ear and made sure that it was available to his brother. So Roger Mears now in a ride in the PC-10. It's a fine ride for him and his team, and they're looking forward to another exciting season next year as they really are fully prepared now for a solid effort in championship auto race teams.
Howdy Holmes just has not been challenged at all. I'm surprised that they haven't moved up a little bit quicker on him. And Howdy Holmes is driving beautifully, staying right in the line. He enjoys being out there. I think it's giving that incentive to really push himself to be able to drive that car right through the rest of the pack as he comes around some of the slower traffic now.
Howdy Holmes is out in front, just about 2.5 seconds ahead of the second place machine of Roger Mears. Howdy Holmes, the car is a March. It's powered by a Cosworth. Here is the battle for 4th place now as Tom Sneva down on the inside, Kevin Kogan on the high side. And Sneva is able to move past and moves into 4th place. Tom Sneva, a winner here in this race the past 2 years, threads his way up through the field.
Howdy Holmes staying out there with a nice, comfortable lead. Rick Mears is starting to make up a little bit of time on him, but now you can see the lead that Howdy Holmes has is very good over Roger Mears.
And again, the thing to remember is that Howdy Holmes is running on a much lighter fuel load than most of the cars in this field because, again, the gamble was taken. They did not bring Holmes in. They did not refuel him. And so as a result, he is running lighter. He is running faster. The report from the pit now comes that Johnny Rutherford's failure was a turbocharger on that engine. And so Rutherford is a spectator here at Phoenix.
Howdy Holmes continues to stay out in the lead as the rest of the leaders are slowly starting to move up in the pack. You can see the relationship there right in the top of your screen is Roger Mears, and right behind him is Rick Mears. So Rick has made up an awful lot of ground in the last few laps as he comes up on his brother.
Rick Mears coming out of the yellow flag in 12th place has now moved up to 3rd. Of course, both Howdy Holmes and Roger Mears still have yet to make a pit stop. Now let's go to Mike Adamle in our studios in New York. Are now complete. The leader, the Gould Charge, Rick Mears, but currently in pursuit and beginning to close once again. He's done it several times this afternoon, is Tom Sneva. And sitting back and watching this battle for the lead is car number 40, Mario Andretti, his last ride for the Patrick Racing team. Next year, he goes to drive for Paul Newman. In 4th place, currently, Rick Mears' teammate, the number 4 car, Kevin Kogan. Again, his last ride for this team this season. He's working on a new deal for next season, but he will be replaced by Al Unser on this team. He's having a lot of trouble handling that car. There's Tom Sneva, who closed right up behind Rick Mears and then was forced to drop back.
There he is again in turn 3, making his move, coming and driving it very hard as he's making his move on the outside to get around to get around Rick Mears. Slower traffic. Let's see what happens.
And just as before, Tom Sneva is slowed up by the car of Jose Garza. He comes down to the low line, very close, almost touched, almost lost control, hangs onto the car, hangs on to second place. Rick Mears is still out in front. That's happened to him twice now, where he was set, ready to go for the lead, made the move, and then encountered slower traffic. So Sneva's getting a little frustrated with all the other cars out there.
Boy, Tom Sneva has never been told that he was afraid to drive through some of those turns, because he is such a hard driver. He works very hard, pushes the car very hard. Again, taking the wide line. His car is handling a little bit different, and he has been continually taking that high line on Rick Mears and been coming awfully close to being able to pass him, but not quite going hard enough. Here's turn 3 again. Let's see if he makes his move then.
Tom Sneva closes up once again, does it in the fourth turn, comes right in behind Rick Mears. Seems to want to come to the outside and try a faster line there. Rick Mears stays on his line. Here is Tom Sneva. He pulls alongside. He handles very well here. They come to the backstretch. This has been the strong section for Rick Mears. It is once again. The engine works for Mears. Sneva drops back, and this battle continues to seesaw between first and second place. Rick Mears leads it. In second place is Tom Sneva. Andretti is still back in third place watching as they come onto the main stretch once again.
Well, right now they're coming to an awful lot of slower traffic. We'll have to see how each of them handles it. And it's amazing to see how these chassis work differently. Now Tom Sneva, as they get ready to go down the backstretch, Rick Mears has the horsepower. He'll pull away a little bit right there. But then coming into 3, Sneva will make up that ground that Mears had. And, going on the outside, trying to take it again on the outside.
Sneva makes the attempt once again as they come off of the fourth turn. Mears continues to hold him off.
He continues to hold him off. What a lot of drivers will do at this point. You see how Sneva keeps going to the outside. I wouldn't be surprised if he's setting Rick Mears up. He will go 3, 4, 10 laps like that, setting him up on the outside, and then all of a sudden, when he gets his chance, dive to the inside, because Rick thinks he's going to continually go to the outside. So he may be trying to set Mears up right now.
Well, as they set these chassis up here for the 1 mile at Phoenix, there's a little bobble off the front end of Rick's car as they come onto the straight. Sneva's still there, a lot of slower traffic. Let's watch as Tom Sneva takes advantage of that slower traffic. There's Howdy Holmes out in front. Mears is trapped backwards. Sneva uses his handling in that first turn, and Tom Sneva has picked up the lead. So we have a new leader here at the Phoenix 150. Mears, who led in the early going, then gave way to Howdy Holmes, has now dropped back to second place as Tom Sneva picks the lead up and comes onto the main straightaway. But look at Rick Mears as he continues into pursuit. Sneva shuts the door on him as they head down into the first turn, and Mears is having to chase Tom Sneva now.
Rick Mears has not been passed too often this year, and Tom Sneva just put a beautiful move on the outside, was able to get around him, weave through some of the slower traffic to keep Rick Mears behind him, and he's gotten the lead right now. And Rick Mears is going to stay to the inside. Let's see what happens.
Mears down slow now. It is Tony Bettenhausen that has stopped Tom Sneva, and Rick Mears moves out and takes Sneva. But Sneva is going to charge right back. Again, a slower car becomes the factor. It becomes the factor again here as Mears is on the low side of the backstretch. In pursuit is Tom Sneva as they come under Pancho Carter, move around him, and Rick Mears is back in front once again. An interesting aspect of the setup of these cars for this Phoenix 150 on the mile course. The first and second turns, the situation of the setup is that it's more mechanical with the chassis, the way the chassis is designed to handle it. Sneva bobbles just a little bit. Now in this turn that they approach, the third and fourth turn, the real trick is to make sure that the car is aerodynamically smooth. So apparently, Sneva's car is a little smoother, and Rick Mears' car is handling a little better in 1 and 2.
Great racing here at Phoenix International
Sneva
Raceway.
was almost into the fence on that one. I'm not sure that he didn't touch it. Sneva's right rear came, and it put us in reminder of Johnny Rutherford, who did a very similar thing here 2 years ago, and he touched the fence and flipped over. So Sneva right up against the fence coming off of the fourth turn.
Sneva is doing some great driving right now. Now trying to go on the inside of
Here
Rick
he goes
Mears.
once again. Tom Sneva, that slower traffic in front of him. Mike Mosley is on the outside in front of Mears. Sneva comes low. Mosley blocks Mears. Mears tries it high. Sneva's trying to get around down low as he's alongside Gary Bettenhausen. The two slower cars now begin to recognize the leaders are right there with him. Sneva comes through, and Mears is chasing him.
I love it. It's absolutely great racing that's going on right now. The battle for the lead between Tom Sneva and Rick Mears. An awful lot of traffic, a lot of cars still out on that track, and both of them using them very well to their advantage, as they both have very fast cars that are handling very well.
Some fantastic racing here at the Phoenix 150 as we watch Tom Sneva as he now drops down to move alongside and around Roger Mears, currently running in 5th place. And for Tom Sneva, does the fact that Mears is running so well, does that affect his game plan? And if so, how does it affect it? Here's Tom.
This length of race, you know you have a different cars you can all day, and hope that you take advantage of some pit stop strategy possibly, or beat them in and out of the pits. And you know, tires are a big problem later in the race. If we can get closer on tire staggers and combinations than he can when they do make a change, then those kind of things will come into play.
There's Tom Sneva, car number 7, the Texaco Star. He is leading and is now pulling about a half a straightaway on Rick Mears. So the question becomes, is Rick Mears going to sit back and watch? Has he decided that there's too much danger in that battle for the lead? Mears can be a very conservative, a very smart driver on some occasions. And he may, Bruce Jenner, have just decided that it's not worth it. Jose Legarza in car number 55, apparently a failure there as he slows and pulls down off the race course. We stay green.
Well, Rick Mears is a very competitive race car driver. He's going to be out there all the time pushing, trying to get the lead. He got around some slower traffic, and right now he's going to make his pursuit onto Tom Sneva because he doesn't want to let him get away. Remember, this is a 150-mile race. For them, it's almost a sprint race.
The leader, car number 7, Tom Sneva. He is being chased by Rick Mears in 2nd place, and Freddie is in 3rd. We'll be back to Phoenix later, but after these messages, we return Charlie Jones in Budapest. That is Kevin Kogan, currently in 4th place, as Sneva tries to put Kogan 1 lap down and gets the job done. Tom Sneva, number 7, leads. Kogan is back 1 lap in 4th. Here's the 2nd place car. Rick Mears bobbles just a bit as he comes off of the first turn, heads down into the 2nd turn right now. Mears is sitting in 2nd place. In 3rd place currently is Mario Andretti, who seems to be satisfied to sit right here and watch the battle that has taken place between the leaders. Tom Sneva and Rick Mears have battled constantly, and then once Sneva seemed to get a hold of the lead, here you see him as he comes by Roger Mears. Now Tom Sneva goes around Roger Mears. Mears was in 5th place. He's just continuing to put cars down lap after lap. He's driving for all his worth. Bruce Jenner, I wonder if part of the incentive is that currently the Bignati team, the team that Tom Sneva drives for, has no contract with anybody, apparently. And maybe Sneva's trying to put on a show so we can get a ride next year.
Well, he certainly is putting on a show, and I'm sure he'll get a ride somewhere. But I think that has to be in his mind, that he knows that he doesn't have a firm ride for right now, and he's got to work very, very hard out there. And Rick Mears out in 2nd place right now, got around the 4th place Kevin Kogan, as he is trying to stay with the leader, Tom Sneva. He's had a difficult time with that. He's got an awful lot of traffic in front of him, as Sneva's got a clear shot at the rest of the field, but Tom Sneva coming into turn 1.
Rick Mears in pursuit of Tom Sneva. There are only 3 cars on the leader lap with Tom. Tom Sneva leads it. Mario Andretti is in 3rd place, and Rick Mears is in 2nd place. Those cars have completed 115 miles. The scheduled distance here today, 150 miles. We'll return to Phoenix in a little while, but right now let's meet Jim Craig, a man who has gone from Olympian to recently being released by the Boston Bruins. Mike Adamle had a chance to speak with Jim about these changes. 50 miles the scheduled distance. Our leader Tom Sneva has completed 123 miles. In 2nd place is Rick Mears. 3rd place is Mario Andretti. Those 3 cars are the only cars on the same lap with the leader. Kevin Kogan is currently in 4th place, and he is 1 lap behind this man, Tom Sneva. Now the question is the matter of refueling this car. They are within distance to make a stop and complete the scheduled distance of the race. They do have to make a stop, though, if they intend to finish 150 miles. So George Bignati, the master mechanic, is talking with his crew now, talking on the 2-way radio with his driver, Tom Sneva, and they are making that decision. When will they come in? And, of course, the decision to be made is whether or not the Penske crew will also make the same decision. Tom Sneva drops below the line and heads down into the pit. So Tom Sneva comes in watch in the background, see if Rick Mears stays out or comes in. Let's go to Gary.
Well, the money on the line now for Tom Sneva, the George McNaughty crew. They're in under green. They're going for 3 in a row in this fall event here in Phoenix. We anticipated fresh right-side rubber. They will not make the change. It's fuel only, and Sneva lights up the tires as he burns back onto pit road.
Tom Sneva screams back into the action. Mario Andretti, who is the third-place car, also heads back into the action, but Rick Mears stayed out on the racetrack. He is the leader, and there's Rick, and now that Penske team will have to make the decision. Neither one of their cars, either Mears or Kogan, the fourth-place car of Kogan, the first-place car of Mears, neither one of those have come in. So let's see what Rick Mears does and when that Penske team will decide to bring him in. At the moment he is in the lead, the gamble can be taken. To hold on, to wait and see. Will there be a condition that brings the yellow out on the race course? So now the gamble being taken.
Well, it is a big gamble, and right now the Penske crew is out there, and Rick Mears is coming into the pits. Let's see what happens.
Rick Mears, the leader, screams down into the pits. As he breaks to a stop, he's being very, very careful. The crew is ready. Peter Parrott signals him to stop. They now fall on the car. They are refueling this car only. Mears says it's handling well. No problem with the tires. They refuel, they unplug, they head out as Kevin Kogan, the fourth-place car, comes right in behind Rick Mears. So Rick Mears in and out and off to the races once again. 127 laps are now complete.
Well, right now, Tom Sneva is out there to lead as Rick Mears is pulling up. He's made his pit stop. Now it becomes a sprint to the finish. Rick Mears has the fastest car on the track. He proved that in qualifying. But Tom Sneva has a nice half-a-lap lead. Let's see if he can continue his pursuit and catch up to Tom Sneva as Mario Andretti moves around some of the slower traffic.
There is what we believe to be the leader. Unofficially being scored as the leader is Mario Andretti, car number 40. And behind that, unofficially, is Tom Sneva. So that's the way we believe they sit at the moment. We wait for a resolution. The race course very short. The scoring very difficult, especially when they make those stops under the green. Mario Andretti, car number 40, the STP Wildcat, his last race with the Patrick Racing Team. He will go to race with a brand new team established in part for 1983. It is handled by Paul Newman.
Well, Mario Andretti would love to have a victory. He has not had a victory yet this year. He's had a lot of second places, been in the hunt all the time, always been in there. But so far, a very disappointing season because he has not had that victory. As Tom Sneva right behind him, going to give him a run for his money.
Well, there is a lot of confusion, Bruce Jenner. You've heard it. We have both wondered what is being done with the scoring here because the indication moments ago was that Mario Andretti was in the lead. Now they're officially showing that Tom Sneva made his stop, got in and out, that Andretti made his stop, that Mears made his stop, and that Tom Sneva reassumed the lead. So now the indication is that Tom Sneva, the Texaco star, is leading. Second place is Rick Mears, and Andretti is in third. That is the indication now, but there is some confusion in the scoring here at Phoenix.
Well, Tom Sneva is going to be pushing his car as hard as he possibly can. There's only a few laps left to go here. There's not too many laps, and his car has been handling so well all day that he's going to push that car as hard as he can because he knows that Rick Mears is not that far behind.
As 132 miles are now complete, Tom Sneva being shown as the leader. Second place is Rick Mears. Mario Andretti 23 seconds back in third place. The yellow flag is out. The pace car pulls onto the course as Bobby Rahal comes into the pits to stop. The reason for the yellow, not a situation on the race course itself, but rather on the pit road. Mike Mosley did a quick little spin on the pit road and threw debris all over that area and a little part of the back straightaway. Now, as the leader Serial comes around behind the pace car, it looks like Rick Mears is getting ready for a pit stop. There comes Tom Sneva, the leader, and Rick Mears pulls down toward the pit road and heads into the pit area. So Rick Mears, here in the closing laps, will be making a stop. His crew is ready as he comes in and hits the brakes. And the best crew in kart racing falls on top of Rick Mears' car. Peter Parrott, the crew chief, changing the right front. They're changing 3 tires. They top off the fuel tank once again. Rick Mears sitting ready to go. Up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen by the fuel tank is Al Unser. He will be Mears' teammate next year. Watching how well that crew works as Mears lights the tires and comes onto the pit road. So it will be a sprint to the finish for this man, Rick Mears, as he continues his pursuit of Tom Sneva, our current leader.
That was a big break for Rick when that yellow went out, because there's only about 17 laps to the finish line, and it is going to become a sprint to the finish line. And so Rick put on the tires, probably a little softer compound, that only have to go 17 laps, and you know he's going to be in a quick pursuit under the yellow right now. Tom Sneva out in the lead.
Well, Sneva is out in front, but Rick Mears is way back with better tires. Still, he has to work his way through traffic. Andretti currently in second right now. Let's go back to Marv Albert. In McAfee, New Jersey is Rick Mears. They are the cars together on the leader lap as the green flag flies for Tom Sneva. Andretti comes in pursuit of Sneva. Sneva all alone down in the first turn. He has won this race the past 2 years. Can he do it again? Tom Sneva certainly is in the position to do it right now.
Well, he certainly is, Paul. He's out in front. His car's been handling well all day. He's got a nice lead on the rest of the pack. But because Rick Mears came into the pits during that yellow, it put him all the way to the back of all the traffic. Although he's in second place, he's got maybe 15 cars in front of him that he's got to get around before he can even start to chase Tom Sneva.
Here is the battle back in the field. That's Mario Andretti, the second place car number 40. And right behind him, you can see that big number 1. It indicates Rick Mears, as now he pulls up and begins to challenge Andretti. This is a battle for second place. He gets caught behind a slower car. Andretti seesaws forward. Rick stays right behind him. They weave their way now in and out of traffic on the backstretch. Heading for 3, coming through 4. That's Roger Mears out in front of Andretti now. It's a battle for second place as Andretti drops low. Rick Mears decides that that's a good place to be as well. Then he pulls alongside Andretti on the high side. Roger Mears is down on the inside, and Rick Mears took the advantage of his brothers holding Andretti by just a bit, and he moves around. Now Andretti is back in third place, and Rick Mears has moved up into second.
Rick Mears with a very nice move on the rest of the field. He had a little traffic, had his brother in the middle there. Mario Andretti went low. Rick Mears went high and got the advantage. They come by start-finish line. Now he's got about a half a lap to go to catch up to Tom Sneva, the leader.
There was a little brotherly love for you with now just 10 miles to go in the Phoenix 150. Here's the leader, car number 7. It's Tom Sneva. He's a resident here in Phoenix. He's done very well in this fall race, winning the past 2 years, and is on his way to a 3rd straight victory in the fall 150-mile race at Phoenix. Now with Tom Sneva in the lead, Rick Mears is closing. He's been nipping tenths of a second off of the leader, Tom Sneva, the past several laps. He's 7.1 seconds behind, but can he do it? Can he possibly catch Tom Sneva? There's a few laps now to find out. There is Rick Mears. Right behind him is teammate Kevin Kogan. He handles again some slower traffic that will serve to the advantage of Tom Sneva, our current leader.
It certainly is going to help out Sneva an awful lot. Because Sneva right now, as he is out in the lead, Mario Andretti currently in third place right now, just trying to hold on to that position. But the story is Tom Sneva and Rick Mears in pursuit. Mears has an awful lot of slower traffic to go through. So that's going to slow him down, really hurt his pursuit. And Tom Sneva, you can see he's all out, all alone.
Sneva has the advantage. Car number 7 is the leader. Can he do it once again? A 3rd straight year at winning the fall race at Phoenix. It certainly looks like he's on his way. There is only one obstacle, and he is closing behind him. That is Rick Mears. Currently in second place. They are running about identical laps in speed now. Here's the distance. Tom Sneva comes through the picture. There's Mike Mosley, and here is Rick Mears at the starting line. 7.2 seconds behind as Rick Mears tries desperately to catch up with this man. Tom Sneva. Sneva moves through turn number 3, through turn number 4. Tom Sneva coming. Here is the white flag coming to Tom Sneva with just 1 lap. Just 1 mile to go for Tom Sneva as he flashes past the line. Now Rick Mears will see the white flag. There is Tom Sneva's wife as she watches. She is always very hesitant in the last lap, no matter how good it looks. Her job is to score the race, not to get excited. When the checkered flag flies, then she can do that. Tom Sneva, the 3rd turn, heading for the 4th turn. It looks like he's going to do it once again. He's on the main straightaway. The checkered flag flies, and Tom Sneva, for the 3rd year in a row, has won the fall Phoenix 150. Rick Mears comes across the line in 2nd place. Mario Andretti in 3rd place, and 1 lap down, Kevin Kogan will come across in 4th position.
Tom Sneva, he's got this track wired. He comes out here every year and does so well. As he comes around, the crowd, the crew and everything, who knows?
know, when the pressure's up, that's when you got to perform. And the crew did a super job, and the car was dialed in. The tires had a little problem late in the race, but we had enough of cushion that it was no problem.
Tom, you've told us in the past you love traffic situations. That's real racing. We saw tremendous examples as you and Rick really went for it several times in the middle stages of this one.
Well, we had a good dice, and that's what makes racing fun. And, you know, I wish every race could be just like that.
And I know there was a little anticipation because you had a gearbox problem at the end of yesterday's practice and no chance to really test things out before you started the race.
That's true, and we had a little trouble today. You know, we couldn't get first or second gear on two of the restarts, but fortunately the last restart was we were in command, and when you're in command, you can get away with some of that stuff.
How about the plans for 1983?
Well, we're still negotiating.
All right, still negotiating. I think your bargaining position may have enhanced itself a bit this afternoon.
Well, you never know.
There's our happy winner, Tom Sneva, victory lane, the third consecutive fall at Phoenix. Let's go back up to Paul and Bruce.
Well, Tom Sneva said it, and you saw it. It was a terrific dice for the lead between Rick Mears and Tom Sneva. But Tom got it done once again, a third victory in a row.
It's something about the fall, Phoenix International Raceway, and Tom Sneva. They all seem to go together. Third time coming here, getting the victory at the end of the season. Tom Sneva needed it. He's had a somewhat disappointing of a year, but he came through in this one, held off the pursuit of, you know, the greatest driver on the circuit this year, Rick Mears.
Well, another season is now complete for championship auto racing teams, and they are preparing for one that should be, Bruce, even better.
Well, it seems like everybody next year is going Indy racing, and I think it's good for the sport. There's a lot of good money coming in, a lot of new sponsors, and a lot of new drivers. And it should be an interesting year. So it's going to be the spring back at Phoenix International Raceway. We'll see how everybody does.
And you'll see it here on NBC Sports. So it's Tom Sneva. Congratulations to him as the victor here at the Phoenix 150. In second place, Rick Mears. Mario Andretti came home in third. So
reason to watch any